morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. Do have a guest today, but it's not someone from my B&I. I've been doing a lot of my B&I folks, but if you've been around the veterans community at all, you probably know Rich Buford. Say hi, Rich.
Hi, good morning.
All right. Rich is, I met Rich through my VFW, and he's now currently our District 11 commander. He is also the post commander for Post 46 of the American Legion. He does a lot of school visits and things like that. So you may have run into him. He kind of came in this morning. He's wearing two different hats. Almost literally, he's got his Legion shirt on and a VFW cap because he's got a couple different functions today. But one of the reasons I brought him in is, and I'm going to be involved in this event. What do you call it? The PACT?
The PACT Act. We have a Veterans Health Fair on November the 8th.
Okay, and I will have a booth there. It's going to be at our Veterans building right over here on East Spring Street. But Rich, tell us a little bit more about what veterans might expect at that event.
Well, we're going to try to have this as an annual event, and it's going to be a health care fair to answer all questions to any of our veterans about health care. We'll have 63 booths, mostly from the VA and the State Department of Veterans Affairs, and then local providers to answer all veterans from World War II to the war in Afghanistan, any questions about benefits to assist them in their health care needs.
Right. And what I think a lot of people don't realize, even though veterans generally use the VA, Medicare is an important part of that, and that's something that I deal with. That's why I'm going to have a booth there. And some of the Medicare plans are more generous for veterans than they are for the general public. So that's some of the things that we can go over at that session. And, of course, as we're recording, you have a couple things you got going on today. What's happening today?
Well, we have Coffee with a Vet every Thursday morning at Big O Donuts from 8 to 10. And we have up to 40 to 50 veterans that come and talk about all kinds of different things. But our veterans get a free cup of coffee and a free donut from Big O Donuts. And they're wonderful to our veterans in our community.
And I know that's probably crazy, but somebody may not know where Big O Donuts. You happen to or give directions to somebody who maybe's never been there or the address.
Big O Donate has been an institution in Putnam County for many years, and they have recently moved. They're on Spring Street.
Right.
Get off 111 and you're headed toward the square. They're on the left side, but you'll always see a lot of good people there and some of the best donuts in town.
Right. And I've been here about a little over 3 years now, and I still kind of sometimes think, I know where that is, but do I remember where it is? And one of the things that I'll mix up, like you said, on Spring Street, is sometimes you run up, depending on where you're coming from, run up 911 and get off at Spring, or sometimes you'll come off I-40, or you run up Neal Street around by Averett there, and then you go, oh crap, I can't remember now. Am I supposed to turn right or left? I don't know why. Sometimes, and that's a problem I've had forever. Used to have that problem when I lived in Oak Ridge. There's basically two main roads there, the Oak Ridge Turnpike and Illinois Avenue, and I'd turn the wrong way in one. My wife's like, what are you doing? But she lived there a lot longer. She lived there before I moved there, but I would get mixed up because there was a couple of blocks there where there'd be Kroger and Kmart or Big Lots, and I'd get mixed up which one of those big blocks I was turning into, and I'd turn the wrong way. And she said, why are you turning in here? And it's like Books A Million was one of those two. And I do that here on Jefferson. It's kind of remember, it's like, okay, I'm coming out on Jackson. Do I want to turn left on Jefferson or turn right and turn south? That always helps. Even old timers need the directions how to get somewhere sometime.
Big O's is easy to find. You'll smell the fresh coffee and the fresh donuts. Just turn to the left.
And then I mentioned the Veterans Building where we'll be doing this PACT Act Fair. What is it? I think it's 90 East Spring.
It's 90 East Spring Street.
Right. So there's a fire station right behind it. Or if you're coming west on Spring, it's just past the First Baptist there.
Right beside First Baptist and right behind City Hall.
Okay. Yep. And I bring that up because we do have all our veteran service organizations meet in that building. The VFW, we meet at 6:30 on the third Tuesday of the month. Post 46 meets.
We meet on the first Monday of every month at 5:30.
Okay, and then the MVets is
MVets meets on the last Monday of the month, and American Legion Post 35. They meet on the second Tuesday of every month.
So if you haven't connected with one of these groups and you're a veteran, check it out. You can always reach me through my website, theinsurancematchmaking.com. I have that spot there where you can submit questions for the show, or hey, where was that? Where did you say that American Legion Post meets, or where's the one on Tuesday? Or whoever, and we can get you directed to one of those organizations. We need veterans to participate in these organizations to get a lot of good information, and we're also able to help those other veterans. We're graying organizations. We just our last meeting, we had 2 of our lifetime members that had passed away. One was a World War II veteran. He was at least 100 years old.
101.
He was 101. I was going to say he was over 100, and then we had a Korean War veteran who also passed away. I was one of those, and I think Rich is kind of in the same boat. We were just a little bit too young to be Vietnam veterans, but we both have served our 20 years, retired. I try not to hold it too much against him, but he was in the Navy. But we need to keep these organizations growing. We have a lot of, being a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, we have a lot of veterans who qualify for that because of Iraq and Afghanistan. And there's a lot of things we do. And I know a lot of times people think, oh, American Legion, the VFW, it's just a smoky bar, hidden back kind of the way, and everybody goes there for cheap beer. We actually meet in a public building. There is no bar. There is no smoking. If you're going to smoke, you better be outside. But we get together and work on things. In fact, I've got a future guest coming up. I've got, what's her name, Miss Tracy from, Karis.
Karis.
That's doing the Wreaths Across America. She's going to be on my show here in a couple of weeks. So, and then we get involved in those things. And that's the thing. It's part of giving back to your community. So we want to make sure our veterans get plugged into those things. And a lot of times, people need help, filing VA claims. And that's one of the reasons why we're kind of here to spotlight today that this PACT Act Health Fair is, and as Rich mentioned, whether it's a World War II veteran or whether it's an Iraq, Afghanistan, War on Terror veteran, there are services out there you might be missing out on. We want to make sure that you're getting the care that you've earned.
And Matt, I wanted to say on the health fair that we're having, we're going to have 5 service officers to take claims for all of our veterans.
Awesome.
And if you're not in the VA system, it'd be a great opportunity for you to come and sign up that day. That health fair is not just for the veterans, but also for the family members.
Right.
And learn personally about benefits and care for our veterans, especially our elderly veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very important event. Please help us get the word out. We need as many people there as possible.
And you mentioned that family members and caregivers, there's a lot of benefits for spouses, for widowed veterans. Typically, we think widow, we think a woman, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately, if you're widowed, but it's not always a woman. We have a lot of women veterans, and their spouse, they may have left a spouse behind, and that spouse is a male. There are benefits there for you too. We do not discriminate on gender when it comes to who's a widow, who's a veteran, who's a spouse, and we can get you the services that you need. That's awesome. There's going to be 5 service officers there to help with claims. I guess probably a good suggestion is maybe bring their DD-214 with them.
They should if they haven't signed up for VA services.
Right, because you'll need that proof, and you also need, that's one of those proofs too of if you're interested in maybe joining one of our veteran service organizations, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Little more picky on who can join. You have to have been in a combat arena or been stationed in Korea or been on a nuclear submarine. Which I guess that was your way in, basically, wasn't it, Rich? Or you might have been in Desert Storm or something too. But
I was also involved in the war in Iraq and on submarines and aircraft carriers. So I was in the theater of war.
Yeah, and actually, and a lot of people didn't realize a lot of people, like during the Vietnam era, they were considered in the, even if they were stationed like in Thailand, they were considered part of the combat theater. And the other thing on that is they've expanded those that may be eligible for benefits through the VA because of Agent Orange. You didn't have to be. They're starting to do a little bit more now about what they call the Blue Water Navy, that some of those sailors were exposed. A lot of Air Force veterans were never in Vietnam, but they were exposed to Agent Orange because they worked on the aircraft that was carrying it. So those are some things you need to be able to check out. There's a lot of, if you're a veteran, you're probably I get it. Get the mail, or maybe they just mass mail to everybody about Camp Lejeune. There was a water problem, mercury in the water for about 20 years, from the 60s to the 80s. And there's benefits not just for military, but the family members too, because they were exposed to that water. And as I say on my show a lot, don't call that 800 number. Get with the veteran organizations and make sure you can take a. And I'm not saying there's not legitimate lawyers out there who are trying to help people, but you're kind of, as I say, the roll of the dice of whether you're getting a legitimate lawyer who's going to help you with your claims, or someone who's just trying to take advantage of you and get a share of the claim.
Yes, and all services for our VA service officers are free. Do not cost our veterans a penny. So that's where you really need to put your claims in, guys.
All right. Some of the contests we have for youth, Veterans of Foreign War, we have what's called Patriots Pen. And that's
Voice of Democracy.
And Voice of Democracy. The Patriots Pen is for middle schoolers that to write an essay, and then the Voice of Democracy is a speech contest. And the deadline to get those submitted in for judging at the post level is October 31st. Yeah,
you still have a couple of days, guys.
And we do give cash. VFW, we give out cash awards for that. So sometimes people get a cash award and maybe even didn't do a really good job. But we have recently just this past year, the state winner for Voice of Democracy was from Manchester, was it?
Cleveland.
Was he Cleveland?
35,000.
Yeah. So that's a scholarship, right? Yeah. It is. The Voice of Democracy, they get a scholarship. The Patriots Pen, they get an award, but because they're younger, they still have an opportunity to compete for that scholarship when they're in high school. So those are great programs. It has a patriotic thing. But we're going to take a quick break here for our commercial time, and then Rich is going to probably talk about the oratory contest. So I was getting there. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Are you ready for winter's chill to creep in? As the temperature drops, so does the reliability of your power supply. Don't get left out in the cold. Cove Generators, your trusted source for backup power solutions. We proudly offer the industry-leading Generac brand. When the storm rages and the lights flicker, your Generac home standby generator from Cove Generators kicks into action, keeping your home safe, warm, and well lit. Call 931-559-3311 and never face a power outage again. Cove Generators, your power, your peace of mind.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
All right, and we are back on Insurance Matchmaking with our guest today, veteran extraordinaire, commander of VFW District 11, Post 46 of the American Legion, Rich Buford. And I know I kind of cut him off just before the break there. I was talking about the VFW youth contest, but also I'm sure he wants to share about the oratory contest that American Legion sponsors.
Yes, American Legion, we have a youth oratorical contest coming up on the 18th of November. This is open to 4th to 6th grade students and 7th to 8th grade students. It's going to be at the Putnam County Courthouse. The contest begins at 9 a.m. in the morning. This year's subject is the American flag, our symbol of freedom. And we're asking our students to prepare a 3 to 6 minute speech on the American flag, and we have cash prizes and plaques and awards, and every student that participates will come home with a prize of some type. But we're hoping our students will honor our flag, and American Legion has a contest for high school students in January, which we've been doing since 1938, and it's our constitutional speech contest. And in that contest, we ask students to give an 8 to 10 minute speech on any subject pertaining to the Constitution. And the national winner gets $30,000 in scholarship. But we had this contest going for years, and we're looking for the national winner from Putnam County.
All right. And repeat again the date on that and the ages to participate.
Well, the next contest we have is on the 18th of November, and this is for 4th to 6th grade students and 7th and 8th grade students.
Okay.
And we are the only county in the state of Tennessee that does a junior oratorical.
Okay. Awesome. I know one of the things I've heard you mention in the past, and I know COVID really kind of put a kibosh on it, but Boys State.
Boys State is a very popular program. It's been at Tennessee Tech University since 1962. Each year, Putnam County sends more delegates to Boys State than any county in the state of Tennessee. Last year, we had 18 students. These are juniors in high school. They have to be in the upper percentage of their class. They have to be nominated by a teacher. And Boys State is conducted the last week of May. And it's at Tennessee Tech, and the governor comes and speaks, the Supreme Court, and we set up a mock government on how democracy is supposed to work. We are looking for sponsors for Boys State. It costs us $425 for each student that we send to Boys State. But it changes lives, and I have not sent one young man that didn't have a great experience, and it helps them with college and their future endeavors.
Now, you mentioned that cost, and obviously looking for sponsors. Do the students have to participate on the cost at all, or is it provided for them?
It is free for each delegate to go to Boys State. We cannot charge the students to go to Boys State.
That's what I thought.
But we're always looking for businesses and former Boys State delegates who want to sponsor a young man to attend this program.
Right.
You'll never regret it. It changes lives.
And I just thought of it when it came to, I mentioned the Veterans of Foreign Wars student contest. There's also, this is also a great time to nominate a teacher that displays and teaches patriotism in their classroom. So if you know a teacher that really goes all out to make sure that their students know what Veterans Day is about, or any, talking about Memorial Day, Veterans Day, those veteran focused holidays. If you know a teacher like that, you can nominate them. You don't have to be the principal to nominate. You don't have to be another teacher. You could just be maybe it's your child's teacher, and that you were really impressed with the program they set up. You can go to VFW.org and look on the, I think it's student education or scholarship programs, and there'll be a link there for the teacher. So, and again, that deadline is October 31st, so we're kind of coming down to the end, but it helps us recognize people who are working with our veteran organizations, but also as a member of our post, it's one of those things that we get rated, we're kind of graded against the other chapters throughout the state and the country, and we call those our core projects. So it's like if we don't have a nominee, a lot of it is because, maybe we're just not, beating the bushes and promoting it. So that's one of the reasons I'm promoting that day. Maybe I should have done this a little sooner, but hopefully maybe it's still not too late. Somebody will hear this on the radio and go, oh, I know a teacher that's really great. I want to get them in there. So, Rich, I know you work with a lot of veterans and run into a lot of, helping with VA claims and things like that. What are some questions that you maybe get from veterans about health care or health insurance in general?
Well, a lot of the older veterans ask questions about future obligations for nursing home and rehab. And I think as we all grow older, those are all questions we have to ask. So, everyone wants their family members to be protected and to have the health care they need. So the VA may not provide everything, but that's why we're having the health fair, so we can make sure everyone has an opportunity to look at all their needs for health care.
Right. And I know I get a lot, sometimes people will mention they're veterans and they're like, well, I don't need Medicare, I'm a veteran. Or it's a risk. One, if you're like me on TRICARE, and to have what they call TRICARE for life, you do have to apply for Medicare and pay for the Part B. So to get that. The other thing, a lot of misconception, one of the great things about VA is if you're using the VA for your health care, because there are late penalties that come into play with Medicare, if you have VA, you won't encounter the Part D, which is the drugs. I always joke when I do my Medicare presentations because there's a lot of letters being thrown around. And it's like if you just remember the one thing, it kind of help you on the other. Is Part D is the drug coverage. So D for drugs. So I was like, that's one thing in Medicare that seems to make sense. So since it's the government, I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose. But VA coverage will exempt you from that late enrollment penalty. It's what's called creditable coverage. Unfortunately, VA health care is not creditable coverage for Part B. And what happens is when you first turn 65, you've got a 7-month window to go ahead and enroll and get your Part B. If you wait till later, you have to wait till a certain time of the year to do it, and then you're going to face a late enrollment penalty that gets added to your Part B premium. And right now that Part B premium is going to be $174 in January. And so for each year you didn't have Part B and then sign up, it's 10% of that year's premium. So like if somebody had put off a year or two at that 174 and it's going to be 174, so it's going to be 1740 times 2, so right there about $35 a month added onto that premium, and it can. And then that increase, and it doesn't go away. And because what happens is, I got the VA, I'm going to VA. Because if you're using the VA and you're under 65, they're covering everything. Once you're eligible for Medicare, they're going to cover service-related because they expect you to go on Medicare. So a lot of, sometimes on your disability level, you may get it. But if you put off getting Part B because you think, I've got VA, and 5 years down the road, you're needing more health care and you need to get Part B, you're going to have that late penalty. So it makes sense to go ahead and get it, and there are plans out there that are very generous that will help you as a backup to VA. I can't go too much in detail on that, but if you're a veteran and you have A and B and that's all you have, come see me. There's benefits that can help you get some more benefits, like don't call, one of my favorite sayings, don't call Joe. Don't call those 800 numbers on the TV that talk about your free dental with Medicare. Call my office, set an appointment. We'll go over it. I'm a veteran. I have a heart for veterans. And if I think a plan's not right for you, I'll tell you, even though I don't make any money if I tell you you don't need anything, but we'd still check it out.
Matt, thanks for all the hard work you do for our veterans and their families.
All right. So we're in the fall season. It's kind of funny. I've got to come up with a presentation, and of course it's fall, and it's like, to me it's nothing spookier than getting a letter from your doctor saying, the insurance plan you have we don't have that. We're not going to take that next year. You have to change plans. But here at Insurance Matchmaking, we do everything that's health, life, and Medicare. If you need home and auto, I've got people I can refer you to, but I don't do those. I do the other plans that help you take care of your protection. And Rich, you mentioned, nursing homes. A lot of people think, I have my Medicare. That's going, I'm moving to nursing home. Medicare does not pay for nursing home. If you're below a certain income, Medicaid might pick that up. But the problem again there is, if you're going into a nursing home using Medicaid benefits, you're going to go to the nursing home they want you in. As veterans, we always 50 cents a month come out of our paycheck to the soldiers' home. We are entitled, and our spouses are entitled for assisted living. There's not a lot of veterans' homes, and there's usually a waiting list. When I lived in Oak Ridge, our post did a lot of stuff with the Ben Ashley home, which was in the West Knoxville area. But it was usually full. But we would go at least once a year and do an event with the veterans there, and usually would do something at Christmas. And their Christmas wishes are usually very simple. They need new socks. They want a hoodie, something that sit around to be comfortable in. But they love the fact that hey, somebody hadn't forgot about them. So I mentioned, we've got the Wreaths Across America, and I'll have Tracy on here in a couple of weeks to go a little bit more on that. Are there any other events you can think of, Rich, that we want people to be aware of? Not just veterans be aware, but maybe veteran-centric events coming up?
Well, we're having our Veterans Day Parade on November the 10th at the Putnam County Courthouse.
All right. And
it begins at 10:30.
So there's like a program at the courthouse, and then the parade proceeds from there.
Correct.
All right. Anybody, it's kind of like the Christmas parade. If you want to be in the parade, you just who's the contact on it? Do you know at the top of your head?
Mr. Mike Glass or Mark Harris. I'm sure they can.
And that's the veteran service officers here.
I think it's not too late if you have a car and want to be in the parade. but you have to sign up to participate.
All right. And we're coming up on about running out. Is there anything else you want to add, Rich?
I would like to add, we have growing concerns for our homeless vets in Putnam County and also the entire Upper Cumberland. We will have a seminar coming up about that, but please be aware there are a lot of people out here that are having problems with housing and food. We do have an organization here in Putnam County that provides food, clothing to our veterans. They're open every Monday. It's Operation United Hope.
Okay.
And they're located near Allgood. But
right.
If anyone has any needs for their veterans, please contact any of our local posts, or our American Legion's website is www.legiontn46.com. And right after this, I have to go see a veteran that doesn't have food for the month, and we're going to buy him groceries to.
Right. And that's the other thing. And sometimes I'll see posted like in Hip Cookville, and people will ask for something and recommend, especially if they're a family member. And we can help active duty families. Sometimes, we've got a spouse that's here and they're having some issues. We have fun in VFW. It's called the Buddy Poppy Fund, and that money is strictly for helping veterans in distress. We'll pay light bills, and that's the other thing too. If you got an overdue light bill, contact, and you're a veteran or spouse of a veteran, contact the veteran service organizations before your power gets cut off. Because I don't know how many times when I was in Oak Ridge, because I was what we called the quartermaster, that's the treasurer, how many times I'd write a check to the electric company to get somebody's electric turned back on. And, that costs another, $50, $100, $150 to get that done. If we can just catch up the bill before they cut it off, we have more money to give for somebody else. Plus, you're not waiting for your power to get turned back on, because just because we go and pay them doesn't mean it gets back on that day. So if you're struggling with that, don't be too proud. Contact your veteran service organizations and see if they can help. Now, generally, most of them are going to say, you don't need to prove it. We're not going to give you cash. We're going to pay the bill for you. So you need to have the bill, and you need to have the proof of the service connection, not just say, oh, anybody can go to the thrift store and buy camouflage and wear it and make a cardboard sign, say I'm a homeless vet. Just because someone's wearing camouflage, don't assume they're a veteran. If you want to donate, give to the veteran organizations, not the panhandlers. The organizations will help them.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. And it looks like we've run out of time.
Thanks for tuning in to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.